Hey everybody, Mobile Rager here, and we got two quick blog posts. One's for the event that already started, but come on, you expect them to you expect them to post on any time before Wednesday? You're nuts. You out of your mind thinking they'll post the blog post on time. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Like 2 days before, 3 days before, do it the whole week before, you don't have to worry about it. Nah, 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 nah. Why would you want that? Why would you ever want that? Okay, so yeah, Drone Instant Martian. Actually, I guess Marvin isn't out, so fair enough. Okay, let's start folks. Sam, zoom into action. Look, these targets. I don't know, I'm reading that. It's got numbers. Collect drone buns, spin the drone wheel. Okay, sounds about right. There's the daily. So it is as I expected. The come to me in a second. The wacky invasion format. The daily campaign format. Which is neat. So it's pretty playable, you know. So right, scoundrels, scoundrel explorers are part of the feature tunes. Okay, yeah, sure, this will be playable in any reasonable degree. Actually, the toy maker's in the legendary wheel. Interesting. Unless he's gonna be in the store? Question mark. So let's look through who's here. Dodgers. That makes sense. I mean, he's literally featured. He's a featured tune in the tower, so you know. Pumpernickel. Okay. Cadet. That makes sense. I mean, as it vaguely seems like they're doing fake Star Wars, so. Well, I don't. You have Dodgers, it makes sense to have Cadet. I was just speculating. Masked Avenger. We're not doing like Daffy feature, right? Because like, okay, he's an explorer. I get that. You know. Here's the scoundrels. Black Knight Sam might also be a scoundrel. Like I get this is probably like the scoundrel roundup. It's definitely these four, and also these two. I think Sam's a question mark. Technically, they moved him, but he was a scoundrel, so I guess I'll do whatever. Yeah, Martian bugs. Maybe she's here as the alien tune. That would make sense. Because I look at this. It's alien, scoundrels, and explorers. So that's where the mismatch is. So, cause like he's an alien question mark. Like these two are explorers. Explorers here. I don't know if the super tunes are here. I'm not strictly complaining. I don't know why Monster Foghorn's here. And no. Robot leg towers, space opera tower can be exchanged for drones to Martian pieces once you have them unlocked. Okay. Cool, I guess. I don't know why they can't just be there, like whether you have them unlocked or not. Like it doesn't matter for the drone instant Martian, but it's gonna matter probably in like just a week with the new Marvin. It's legendary. It's gonna take you a little time. And if they're doing this for the epic, I don't really expect them to change it. So it just kind of seems unnecessary considering it was just there before. Like I unlocked Evil Granny a day early, I think, just because I had the pieces from the tower. So a little bit of a dick move, you know what I mean? But yeah, Statistical Will is like an explorer, I think. Well, Flood's a hunter. Strange. I don't know why it's specifically these four super tunes. It's not like they're all space tunes. I'm pretty sure Omega is the only super tune that's actually from space. Super Coyote certainly isn't. And, well, Succotash and Super Rabbit are from the same region because they came out in the same event. And I'm pretty sure they're also both City. Because I know Super Coyote City. So, I don't know, strange set of future tunes. I mean, Scoundrels are getting a rework, so if you wanted advice for something to invest in, they're potentially worth. They're like a better DOT team right now than Villains. Maybe that much. Alright, but here's the real important thing that I wanted to talk about. They finally made the Alliance War page. And I will note. This is arguably late. Because what was said with Rotation 4 or something like a billion years ago. I mean, it's not a billion years ago. It was like 2 months ago at this point. But I can look at it right now. I think it was before the third map, maybe. But there was something. Because when the new war originally came out, like they changed how the structure was. Because I think it was just one team in war before, and then they upped it to two. And then they just sort of danced around the. And then it was sort of just like a pause for like 8 months. Because again, the war changes launched. I'm sure this will not be a chronic lie. Because it says quote from last year, which, okay, is legally true. I mean, it's 12 months ago, not 12, 14? June 9th, it is April of this year. So 15 months ago, you mentioned this 15 months ago. And again, this right here. Okay, so sorry, this is how it worked before. It was just one defense and an escalation. The towers got a little tougher. Now, and by the way, this is technically a lie. First of all, well, again, I didn't even know you could link pages on this website. Kind of seems like important info to give people. But again, the only thing that even implies this idea here is a single sentence in this line. And even then, while it says, it then talks about this, it talks about war escalation 2 sentences later. So, like, you could argue that that's what they mean by the need teams to defend a structure would go, because it doesn't really Like, nothing else in here. It just talks about war escalation. Right? Like, there's not a separate part of this blog post that I'm missing. It's the part they linked. So it was the only part with the relevant information. Sorry, this. Okay. So it was vaguely mentioned in a blog post a year ago that wasn't enforced until about 2 months ago. And they have the requirements to like 2 or 3. This new rotation system. Actually, if I look in the Discord, I go to like the war, not the war planning channel, but the rotation channel. Okay, see, rotation 4 was 3 months ago. So, explain this to me. I mean, okay, it's been... Sorry, that's 3 tower regions. So the cannon started at 2, starting in rotation 3. 4 months ago. Okay, so I was right on that, actually. And then they stayed that way. And okay, they escalated wars in there. But it was rotation 4 when it was gonna go to 3. Or something. I actually don't really remember what the issue was. It was in war feedback, like 18 months ago. 1,000 years ago. But it's a topic that I wanted to get into. Because people aren't very fond of it, if you could believe it. And I could understand the angle they're approaching this at. Because at the moment, there's close to like 400 tunes. And this game's encountering an issue that a lot of games of this caliber don't seem to. A point where you don't necessarily even have to build teams. Not like, oh, you don't have to build the new teams. You don't have to build any teams. Like, if you're, 20 million tune power, there's, you probably have like 20 tune and 45 teams. And if you look through all the game modes, you look at like Brawl, you only need 4 defense teams. You look at Arena, you put up a single defense and like two attack. You have like 1 defense and 2 attacking teams. Yeah, I mean, maybe 6 in Champions War, but they stole all our champion keys, so it's, the rate you do them is kind of diminished. Especially since you're limited amount of warriors you can do each week, or arenas you can do each week. Most towers, you could clear them with 1, maybe 2 teams, depending on how built your teams are, or what the requirements of the tower are. Like, I mean, maybe the villains and scoundrel reverse will help, but I'm terrible with Granny Tower. Because, I mean, I have 245 boxers. I mean, well, I don't have the cat. Sylvester Jr. I don't got him. But, So like that tower's a bit of a struggle for me. I gotta put a little extra work in. But other towers, something like Berryman or Nautilus, tower specific teams, and probably run both of their required towers completely by themselves. Not necessarily an issue, but from the perspective of the devs wanting to keep playing the game, maybe it is a little. But at the same time, they're also allergic to doing work or something. Nothing happens in this game. So, put a point to it in a little bit of a conundrum, where the scope of available teams is drastically larger to the scope of necessary teams. Because not a lot of things. I mean, the arena teams are swapped every couple of months, so that's a field where you might need to build something. But you can be frank. Most most people don't seem to like arena anymore. I've been kind of an arena hater for a long time. I'm not necessarily a hater, but I never really played it consistently. That's been true since Arena Season 1. But, it was worse at the game then, so it's like Arena just sort of became easier over time. But, it's matchmaking and everything. Being an E4 every season, it's like 18 million. It's a little easy. Most of the people I'm fighting don't even have tune at 45 tunes. But I'm getting off topic. What I'm trying to say is, even the 5 teams you'd build for Arena, because something like a rework could come in on something you would have already built, potentially. And, you just kind of don't need to. And as I said, Arena is also kind of just ignorable. You need it for boost cubes, which, you'd want if you care about the game. But that's a whole different issue I'd get into. Probably worth its own video. But we're going to talk about Alliance Wars here. Again, as I mentioned last year, you totally could have missed that. There's plenty of people that don't even read these blog posts. I look at my Alliance chat all the time, and they're surprised. They keep having to remind people about the multiple teams in war because people just weren't doing it. Again, as this phrase, this statement doesn't make a lot of sense. And sure, you still have to attack each individual team 10 times. So I fail to see how that's interesting. But B, if they had one team built for war that worked well on that cannon, they're still gonna put that team down. Just because there's 2 slots for teams doesn't mean, oh, aristocrats are going off war defense now, I gotta put 2 down. No, you're just gonna put aristocrats and something else. That's kind of a non-argument. This is the only reason, really. Which I can understand, but you might want to make building things a little easier first. But again, that requires work, and they either have 4 developers and they're all busy, or they are vehemently against doing anything. So, at the current time, we've just finished Rotation 4 and are in the enlistment phase of the first map of Rotation 5. As such, we'd like to share with you the current plan for our next rotations and beyond. This is how our last rotation, rotation 4, looked like. So as you can see here, 2 on the regular, 4 on the tower, and 6 on the ship. And like, ship is one thing. I can get it. 4 on the pawn towers is kind of a lot, especially since I'm fairly big for my alliance. I mean, it's a mixed alliance, kind of a casual alliance. Because I'm not necessarily on the game all the time, because it's kind of boring. Like, I kind of like talking about it more than I actually do playing it. But yeah, like, again, I don't know. It's certainly an escalation. I'm putting 6 teams down. Forget it, dude. Forget it. Okay, anyways, well, let's go down to rotation 5. And rotation 5 is the worst thing ever. Rotation 5 is the worst thing ever. So this is our current defense. And again, this only lasts till June. June. And that's like 2 months from now. But 2. And another thing I'm going to point out is kind of strange. I guess it doesn't matter because you have to put down the same amount of defenses, but I was just like this same amount of person per tower. But I was going to say the medium maps, the same requirements as the big maps, but they're kind of supposed to be in equilibrium, so it is what it is. But okay, so now I have to put 3 defenses down. So yeah, good luck to me trying to explain that. I mean, I don't run my alliance, but I know like 2 other people are going to know. I'm gonna start linking my YouTube videos there. That's probably not a good idea, I'll be honest. And use the help, they don't necessarily seem informed. But look at this, Pawn Tower 6. I was just complaining about how Pawn Tower 6 and escalation is the worst thing of all time. You say, yeah, do that again. Then go to rotation 4, rotation 6, which is in June, by the way. June, 2 months from now. You're putting 4 teams down on defense. Okay, I can get this idea. Like something like Marvel Strike Force. I played that game to a degree. People put just 5 teams of defense down. Like, you don't repeat battles, you just fight the team. You just fight one, fight the other. You fight one, it's gone. It's dealt. It's done with. It's disappeared. But this game is not Marvel Strike Force. That's not how the war is formatted. That's not how not the currency, the economy was formatted for. It works for that game because you have to build things. They got things like the raids. There's trait-based raids. It's sort of like if there was region-based towers. They got certain classifications that determine what kind of gear a character gets. So how you need like space mats for space tunes. In that game they got like bio origin tunes. Things like your Hulks or your Spider-Mans, sort of chemically changed or whatever. They have a gear class for that. So kind of the same idea. But they have their daily game mode. They go in, fight the battles. You can sort of auto them depending on what level you're at. But like the game's gone on for a while with the expectation that the war teams swap out. They create higher difficulty raids. So there's things like that, or things like some of their big characters. They have like a I guess they're called mythic tunes. They weren't for a while, but they have special characters you gotta fight, like a long string of very difficult battles for. Sort of like a path to legendary in a sense, but like harder. It's a little hard to describe, but they had the same sort of thing going. The point that I'm getting at is the game's built around the idea that you'll just have 15 teams lying around for other things. This game isn't. Like, that game is an economy to support that, roughly. Good luck to you, 5th strongest guy in the Alliance, being able to put 8 teams on war defense while also having to deal 15 refreshes every 8 hours. Like 25 extra. 26. No, it would be 12 if you did it right. Yeah, 27. You also have to put up 27 attacks, by the way. That actually might be the worst part of this. 25 attacks. You have to do 25 attacks. And still, you're beating one regional tower with 25 attacks. You have one regional tower and like a fourth of the way through a cannon. Preposterous. Ridiculous. This is a horrible system. I forgot about that. I forgot about you have to do 27 attacks. You need to put, like, if you're the ship guy, if you're the big man in your life, you're putting up close to 40 teams for war. We have 50 team slots. Like, another point I was gonna get into this, got into the script of the other video of the simple quality of life changes they can do. 50 team slots. And you have to basically use all of them for war. No weird jank tower teams, no funny R&D teams. No. Everything's for war or you perish. Die in real life. Okay, well, we're increasing the number of teams needed to defend each structure. We're also decreasing the amount of times that blah blah blah. I don't care. Sure, I agree. They'll be less repetitive. But again, 27 attacks. Do you really care? Okay, so now, awesome. Now I get to the justification. Now I'm sure this will be awesome. Okay, we understand this may increase the pressure on players' collections, having to do 40 war attacks, having to have 40 war teams. But Rotation 6 will be the new normal, as that means anything. Over time, as more new tunes are released and older tunes become more widely available, I will put an asterisk on that, but being featured in events as they do currently. Don't even get me started on that. This blog post is a challenge. Challenge to maybe me specifically, but I know they don't care. Like 25 YouTube subscribers. I'm probably not an issue for them. But this is a challenge too. Most people that care, like I care, I'm not exclusive. I'm just like one of the 3 guys making actual videos about this game. So this phrase means nothing. Again, A. Like, okay, sure, more new tunes will be released. I respect to the heat death of the universe before they stop releasing tunes for this game. Well, realistically, the game would die before the heat death of the universe, but you get what I'm saying. This game will cease development before they stop adding new tunes to it. I get it, because, new tunes bring in the dollary due. But at the same time, that kind of means nothing. More tunes are going to be released regardless if these changes come out. And this phrase is bordering on a blatant lie. Because, first of all, as I showed in the blog post, like 15 minutes ago at this point, I don't know how long I've been talking. Yeah, probably like 15 minutes ago, something 20, maybe. You featured like 20 tunes every week. A lot of times you featured the same tunes. You just featured super tunes like 2 weeks ago. You featured them Source with Petunia. I'm pretty sure we can use them in this event. If there's some kind of system in place, sure. But there is no system. You have like 5 different currencies for R&D and Tower and Arena, and those shops haven't been updated in years. You just throw them in and at least do something. It's not waiting 8 months to finish a tune in Showbiz. So I don't think this phrase means anything, especially since the ratio you get resources at doesn't mean anything. The only thing that is even an attempt at alleviating the issue is this sentence, and the first thing it came with is a caveat of, yeah, we might randomly decide this is a stupid idea or something, or randomly decide, because it's not like they give warning. This blog post is like 2 months late. It should have been out before Rotation 4 started. When they promised they'd say something. Of course, their word means nothing. So, okay, we currently have no plans to increase the requirements further. See, like, if they're still doing this, by the way, 2 months. 2 months canon requirements. 2 months each requirement increases. No, good luck. If you started this game 6 months ago, good luck trying to build a single team to be war capable for whatever your alliance is in 2 months. Because you can't do it. It's impossible. You don't have the resources. You probably won't even have the tune pieces. Like, for older players like me that just have a lot of random crap at 7-7, at least you have the advantage of things like the super tunes reworks or the villains reworks, saving you resources. But if you have like a year in this game, you're screwed. You can do nothing. Okay. So what we are discussing internally, though no decision has been made yet. Well, the 4 devs are very busy. Is to relax the theme restrictions on cannons in regional towers. And I will say, I am slightly informed making the 4 dev joke. Because, remember if that random title came out where everyone got confused and thought they were removing a tune from the game because they misspelt one of their own developers' names. But the oldest, and as best I understood it, because he was one of the only 4 of them that talked on Discord, main developer, left the game like 2 months ago. As best I heard, war escalation is his idea, so, you know, thank Goss for this. You know, the beta testing, and can you believe they did beta testing once upon a time? You wouldn't think it from the way this game functions, but I'll get there in a second. I actually don't remember what it was. It was something about Goss. Yeah, sorry, I was making a joke about the 4 developers being very busy. Because, you know, they have to do the art and the new tune events or whatever, and they don't even do that particularly well. As I said last video, they didn't even finish the art before the last invasion. I mean, they did it this time, but what do you expect? Applause? You did the bare minimum, basically. They didn't even update the blog post with the finished art after the tune released. I mean, it's helpful for my purposes, but still. But okay. So, the theme restrictions of cannons might go for, you know, 4 defenses you have to put up. And then note that we don't expect every alliance to be able to put only fully upgraded tunes on all structures. What? No. No, surely not. This is so reasonable. How could they do it? It's like, you understand that this is probably stupid. This is probably unrealistic for most people. And you did it anyways. Thank you, devs. Thank you very much. I actually didn't want to play the game. Choosing which teams to upgrade, which of them to use in a defense versus attack, is part of the choices we want players to make. See, most games do this via the process of just, you're able to have more teams than you need to put on attack or defense. I don't think I have 27 fully tune up 45 teams. I could run through the list in my head, but I think it would bottom out at like 15. And some of them probably wouldn't even be good war defenses. It's not even strictly a me issue. Because most of the time I'm running into this issue. Where I'm not going to be fighting full tune-up 45, like, max epic gadgets, level 11 boost or whatever teams. But if you're in, like, a top 20 alliance, That is the only thing you see on defense. You probably see a tune of 48 tunes. All of them. Full teams on defense. Tune of 48 tunes. What the hell are you going to do? You literally can't bring in, your tune up 30. It's not like if you have tune up 45 knights, worthless. They mean nothing. Because everything your opponent's going to put on offense is going to be stronger than them. It's going to be better than them. Just on a simple metric of A, how this game's power creep has scaled, and B, just the strength of defenses people like to put. It's not like Knights have a war offense skill. They might. I don't really remember anything about them at this point, to be honest. Rank them C tier for a reason. They kinda suck. So. The point, if I wanted to take home anything for this game, if they wanted a solution to people not feeling like they need teams for anything, this is not it. Certainly solely not just this. An economy where you can run out of basic materials like fine boosters. I ran out of fine attack gadgets the other day, upgrading supersonic copper. Not attack gadgets. I ran out of fine attack boosters the other day, upgrading supersonic copper. I'm also out of common space materials. Evaporators? What are the other evaporators? I don't have common evaporators. It's certainly not the 200. I don't have 200 common evaporators. That's 2 years ago. I probably would have like 5,000 common evaporators. Like, it's certainly with the advent of safes, and most people are charm farming. I mean, I'm not, because I don't care. Certainly people who care do. Well, that, you kind of have to take four safes. I mean, a complete tune takes like 200 charms to finish, to go from 45 to 48. And you only get like, 6, 10-ish. Don't even remember, as I said, I don't farm charm crates. But, I guess I didn't read this last sentence. We primarily grant the same rewards in big or medium maps for the same reason, I'm sure. Weird sentence. Most games kind of have one map size, but I mean, Strike Force does. But it's also an alliance of 24 people, so I can get it. As I said, this will break what little shattered remains were left of this game's economy. This will not be a sustainable effort for 95% of players. I would have said more, but like the 50 or so whales that fill up the leaderboard every defense, or every event, probably are 5% of the player base at this point. So, I'm realizing on reflection that this is a far more pessimistic video than I usually do, but to be fair, I did like 35 minutes of war escalation talk, so just complaints are naturally going to arise, because it's a terrible, awful system. Well, I'm the Mobile Rager. That's all, folks. Don't even bother.